Okay, haven't done a body shop related video in a little while on a review of a product, and here's what I'm going to do today. We're going to talk about the Evercoat Rage Optex color changing premium filler. This is not to be confused with its green or it's like environmentally friendly. This green means go, and I'll explain that in a minute. It does have eco technology in it, and that's all fine and well. If it's good for the environment, that's a great thing. But it's a new product, and I'm a sucker. I want to try like new body fillers. They come out. So never found a filler that I was quite happy with. They all have pinholes. They all have one advantage. A lot of them are nothing but soup. But I think we might have finally found the winner, and let's take a look here. All right, so on the 55 Chevrolet here, we're doing the final touch-up body work. Still had a ripple here in the quarter I wasn't happy with, so done wiped it one time, blocked it, still had a few low spots, so I wiped it again, but you can see it goes on pink. And a lot of you might say, you know, Bondo looks pink. Well, yeah. Someone walks in, that's an old body guy, might say, why are you using Bondo brand? Well, it's not Bondo brand. As time goes along and the time lapse takes place, this filler will turn green. And it turns green in such a way that you don't even really need to use guide coat with it. You will see the darker green will be the low spots, and then this will be a really, really light shade of green, almost white, when you sand it. So anyway, you can see the two different things here, and the reason I got this tape on here is for some reason this tape stayed on here overnight and it pulled some primer off. And I'm going to check the other areas of the car to make sure I don't have any adhesion issues that gets overlooked before I paint this car. So what this situation is and why I think I've ran into this car was sit for years, about 7 or 8 years in primer with a 600 finish on it. It had some dirt and some trash and probably who knows what had ended up on it. Well, I cleaned it up best as I could, but I just went over it with a Scotch-Brite because I didn't want to distort the blocking that had already been done with a DA, because it was actually pretty straight. This quarter was the worst area. And of course, there's probably a spot or two that I didn't quite get good enough. But as you can see, where it peeled off here, if you try to fingernail it or pick it off, it's really adhered real good. So I don't know what primer they used here. I can tell you that this is Tamco, the 4150, and or whatever it is. And then this is basically the same as this. This is Tammy's News Company. This is Orion product, Orion Automotive Finishes high build primer, which is very similar to the Tamco. I actually like this a little better, although they have this in many different colors. This was taking a while to arrive on shipping because of the holidays, so I had some of the old Tamco, Tammy's old company stuff that I use. There's absolutely nothing wrong with their products. I just prefer to order stuff from where Tammy is at now. She was always very helpful to me, so kind of stay loyal to her. Wherever she's doing her paint, that's kind of where I'm gonna go. So again, Tamco, SPI, Orion, all great companies, all mom and pop based small companies. So, but anyway, just didn't mean to get off on that too much. I just wanted, some of you probably gonna wonder why I got tape stuck on the car. But I'm gonna just do an adhesion test to make sure I don't have any trouble. It's gonna bite me down the road. So, but you can probably tell as I have been talking. Now you can see the. Let's see if I can get the light on this thing. Yeah, okay. You can see the lightness starting to come into the pink, and it will color change. So there you go. And I don't know how long this is going to take to change, but you can tell it's definitely lightening up now. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you, was kind of as it started to lighten up the process. And basically when that turns green, it's ready to sand. And I will say, I sanded it a while ago just after it finished changing colors, and it was extremely easy to sand. So this filler is extremely easy to sand fresh. It also did not gum the paper up with those little round dots that most fillers do when they have the slick finish. Usually I have to hit it with a DA and then come back and hit it with the paper just for the fact that it's, but this sanded off very easily. You can see where I swept it up there. But so let's back over here to the can and see if there's any information that you may need to know in case your sticker on top of the can gets missing. I'll show that to you now. This shows the hardener. A 2-inch circle, you would need the bead of hardener to be like that. 4-inch all the way across, 8-inch, 1.5 beads. And so anyway, we'll take another look at the can here. Again, it's an Evercoat Rage Optex. Meets all the corrosion resistance. I don't worry about all that because I don't do collision. I always put it over epoxy primer. It can be applied directly over sanded OEM paint. Some Purier sanding and eco resin technology. Yes, it's a very easy sanding. And yes, that is another thing. It spreads very easily and it's not soup. This filler actually on a cold day is a little hard to spread. I would recommend using not this spreader. I would recommend using a firm spreader because it'll be easier to spread. This, I'm out of those, so I'm having to use the soft spreader. But I would recommend a medium spreader on a cold day. The judgment's out on how soupy this will get when the weather's 90 degrees outside. But the soupiest of the fillers that I have used were soup in the cold, and they were water in the summertime. So hopefully, I'm sure this will be a little easier to spread when it's warmer. But you know, I am very impressed with this filler so far. Again, it's Evercoat Rage Optex. There's the part number there, so you can get your local paint supply store to get you some of this, and tell them to stock it for you. And tell all your friends about it, and they'll sell a lot of it. But so far, this is my best filler that I've ever used. Now, as I was doing some of that, let's go back over here to the 55 and see what the filler is looking like. Okay, perfect. You can see the color transition taking place. You can see the pink on the outer areas here, and you'll notice that with this filler. When this gets totally dry, a lot of times if you've got a real thin area of filler, it will stay pink, but the biggest majority is going to turn green. It's going to get greener than this. It won't be pink at all anymore, again, except maybe a few areas around the edges. So another trick that I always do to help yourself out, and I'm going to do this after the video, but take a screwdriver. It's about the same size as your trim holes, and just simply round them out and just get rid of the filler that's in the holes. It'll save you some time later. You can see that this quarter panel has had quite a few blocking sessions, but these Tri-5 Chevys are really flimsy in the quarters. They don't really have any strength because the trim is the body. You know, the trim makes the car look what it likes. Or as a Monte Carlo, you know, the body line is built into the quarter panel. Your body lines on a Tri-5 is basically the trim, and there's not a lot of creases. It's more rounded and rolled. So, you know, unless you added some bracing, you're just going to be something you got to deal with. So anyway, with that being said, I wanted to show you the transition of the color on this new body filler. It has my approval. I'll be using it from now on unless there's something comes out that's even better down the road. Again, and also have not noticed a ton of pinholes, which is a good thing. I have noticed a few, but that was one I was using a good bit at one time on my Cadillac, And thinner coats of filler, you will also, you don't want to put a filler on too thick anyway. I would say, you know, 1/8 of an inch at a time is real safe. So anyway, that being said, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Like, share, comment. Again, hopefully this helps you out there in the restoration world. I'm sure it's good for the collision industry as well. And that's all for today. And I'll do a video of the 55 when it's done, or when it's painted.